Welcome to Gone in 60 Seconds. It's that time of the week where we talk about all the news that's happened in motorsport this week and, of course, where you can watch this weekend's live action. And there is plenty to get into, so let's get straight into it. So, first of all, this is the car channel. Gone in 60 Seconds, loads and loads of brilliant car reviews on there, even if I say so myself. In the last week, we've added the Kia Sportage, the Honda Prelude, and the new Fiat Grand Panda. All three epic cars. We've also got the new Renault Twingo on there as well, which I had a first drive of in the UK, which is pretty epic. Loads of videos still to come, loads of fantastic cars that are going to feature on the channel over the next few weeks. So we've got the Civic on the drive at the moment, which is the brand new Honda Civic. We have got a few more Kias that I've filmed that we're going to put on. So we've got the new K4 and the EV4. And we've got the Grenadier, the Ineos Grenadier, which I've made a video on. So loads of really interesting cars that are going to appear on the channel in the next few weeks. So please make sure you are subscribed. And of course the Motorsport channel, which is the one you're watching this on, because this is where we talk about the news every week. And of course, as things break, as things happen. And there has been some interesting news over the last few days. And I haven't posted on them because I wanted to properly digest and have a think about this, because this is all quite important. So in Monaco, there were loads of speeding penalties through the pit lane, and Gasly was in the podium place. He was in third place. He got demoted because he had two 5-second penalties for speeding in the pit lane, which dropped him down the order, losing his podium. He was gutted. Now, the team have challenged this because there was quite a few speeding penalties, and genuinely, it felt like something was wrong. So they've challenged it, and the FIA and Formula One management have, to be fair, been honest and gone, oh, yeah, look, we've cocked up here, we've measured it wrong, or whatever it is. So he's managed to get his podium place back, which is absolutely fantastic. Now, it's not as simple as just looking at the speed limit. It's not like a speed gun in the pit lane. There are timing loops throughout the pit lane which measure your average speed. So it's just like an average speed check on the motorway. You get from point A to point B in a time that they deem is set. So that distance and that time, it's easy to work out what speed you should be doing. What they've actually done is one of those timing loops is the wrong size or not calibrated correctly. So they're deeming that anyone who's doing the speed limit is actually doing it a little bit faster. And that's why so many people were pinging up. Now, the problem with the rules as they are set is that if you have served your penalty, like Lewis Hamilton served his penalty in the pits, George Russell didn't serve his penalty, but then got another penalty for not serving his penalty correctly, which dropped him out of the podium places. Piastri had one, which probably cost him the podium as well. Because they were served in the race, they cannot be challenged. You cannot protest those. You can't complain about them. So those people have been unfairly disadvantaged by this. So in some respects, I'm quite surprised that Alpine won this challenge. Not only because it opens a bigger can of worms as to how do we fix those other people's races then, because it's not fair on them, but also it opens a bigger can of worms because the FIA have now change the result of a race based on a mistake made by the FIA, something that they haven't been able to do before. And I'm going to bring it up, but Abu Dhabi 2021, there was a mistake made by the race director, but they wouldn't change the race result. They wouldn't fix the problem. We all know that in 2021, Lewis and Max were going at it hammer and tongs, and it was a fantastic season, and it was ruined at the very end by some really poor officiating. Don't get me wrong, I'm not saying Max Verstappen doesn't deserve to be a world champion. He was fantastic as well. But the way it ended left a sour taste in the mouth, and it should have been Lewis's day. Lewis had done everything he needed to do that day to win that race. But they refused to change it. You know, Felipe Massa's lawyers will be wetting themselves because they're currently in court talking about 2008. Because the FIA did not act when they knew something was wrong. So I think this opens a much bigger can of worms, because what we're seeing here is the FIA admitting to a mistake and changing the result. And that is a real issue. Now, we've seen it before where people bring challenges about other rules and 9 times out of 10 they don't get anywhere with it, because it's like, it's officiated as it is on the day, you know, you can't do anything about it. It is extremely rare for something to change like this after the event. So I really do think this is a really big talking point, because what does it mean for other miscarriages of justice? What does it mean for other incorrect penalties? What does it mean for those issues that have happened in the past? I'd love to hear your views in the comments, so please pop in the comments below what you think this actually means for motor racing. Do you think that Formula One has shot itself in the foot by allowing this? Do you think they've done the right thing? What do you think? I mean, none of us disagree that the penalty was wrong, so it is of course fair that Gasly gets his podium back, but then Russell or Piastri should have also been on that podium in that 3rd place. So actually, you know, you've got to weigh it all up. It doesn't quite work. For one person to get their penalty cancelled and others not, how do you unpick the race? You just annul the race result? What do you do? What would you do if you were in charge for the day? Let me know in the comments below. Now, we can't talk about this all day, but Mercedes are exploring legal options, because let's be honest, Russell's race was undone by the penalty for not serving the penalty correctly. Now, that is correct. He didn't serve the penalty correctly. So he should have got that drive-through penalty. That was the correct thing to do. However, the penalty that he didn't serve correctly wasn't legal in the first place. So it's hardly surprising that Mercedes are going to look into this with their lawyers. Now, the difficulty is that they are now, first of all, they've got penalties they served in the race, so they can't officially complain about them. But also, how do you unpick something that's already been done? That is a difficult situation, isn't it? So I think that's going to run and run and run, and we won't have heard the last of this. So next up, we've got a story about Aduo. Now, you may have heard about this. This is where the FIA have decided which powertrains are the best, and anyone that is within a set percentage of falling off the top, then they can have some extra time and money to fix up their engine and get closer. And it's just, the idea is that it closes up the field a little bit. You know, Aston Martin, we talked about, we knew that they were going to get this 10% bonus, where they're so far off the back that they get extra money and extra time to fix their issues. The big surprise is that Red Bull Powertrains has deemed to be the best powertrain in Formula One, or the best internal combustion engine, and nobody in the paddock believes that that is the right thing. Mercedes have won every single race. Mercedes power unit even won the race they didn't win. They're so far ahead of the curve that it just doesn't make sense. I mean, they're good, but they're not that good. So what the heck is going on here? The Formula One management, FIA, have agreed we're going to look into this, because everyone's saying this doesn't make sense, and it just doesn't make any sense at all, does it? So what can you say? So they decided Red Bull Powertrains was the best, the benchmark, that Mercedes will get one homologation upgrade per year, and then Audi, Honda and Ferrari all get 2. I mean, Mercedes allowed to upgrade from wear position is mad. I'd love to know what the FIA have been smoking. Next up, Formula One and the FIA have announced that it's the extension of Pirelli as the sole tyre supplier through to 2008. That includes F1, F2 and F3, and it will be a single tyre supplier, so any hopes of any kind of tyre war are dashed. The Felipe Massa court case is still going on. It is rumbling on, and it goes to the Supreme Court very, very soon. So keep an eye on that story, because that's one that again will develop in the next week or so. Now, there is an agreement on engine changes and rule changes around the power units for the next 2 years. So if you remember, there was a discussion a few weeks ago where they were hoping to move from a 50-50 split between the internal combustion engine and the electronic side, the EV side of the powertrain. They wanted to move to more of a 60-40 split, because they felt that that would improve certainly qualifying and maybe racing a little bit too. But that became contentious, because people don't want to change everything immediately. You know, people like Audi have spent millions and millions and millions of pounds to get to F1 and have this power unit that they've got now, and didn't want to just throw it all in the bin. So they've agreed now a taper plan where this tapers down to around 60-40 split over the next couple of years. So in 2026, currently we've got 400 kilowatt max power on the internal combustion engine. That's going to go up to 420 in 2027 and then 450 in 2028. So it adds 5% and then 13% of fuel flow increase as well. That will really, really help these engines that are a little bit power starved. And then if you look at the MG UK, which is the electric hybridization part of this, your max power on that is currently 350 kilowatts. It's going to go down to 300. The max overtake mode is going to stay at 350, and the max harvesting is going to go up to 400 by 2028, which means that it will harvest the energy quicker, which means you won't need to be lifting at the end of straights to put energy back into the battery. So as you see at the moment, the power split is actually 53-47. It's going to go to 58-42 next year and then 60-40 in 2028. So it's just all agreed. That should keep most of the power unit manufacturers happy because they can taper down the MG UK and taper up the fuel flow as the years go on, and that will just make it a little bit easier to put those upgrades into place. So Racing Bulls have brought us a special livery. It's the third one of the year. It is for the Barcelona-Catalunya Grand Prix, and it's basically World Cup football themed with these cool football wheels. I quite like this. I think this looks really good. And they're all wearing sort of football jerseys, football shirts. So that's all very nice. I like that a lot. Then the next big news story this weekend is, of course, it is the 24 Hours of Le Mans. And the World Endurance Championship, of course, have brought out some cool statements. So what we now know is that we have got the calendar for next year, and they have announced that Silverstone is back. So if we look at the new calendar, you've got Qatar, Italy, which is Imola. You've got United Kingdom, which is Silverstone. Then Belgium, France, Brazil, USA, Japan, and Bahrain are all now on the 2027 calendar. So that is all looking very good. I must admit, a trip to Silverstone for the 6 hours of the United Kingdom, I think, will be absolutely brilliant. This is your grid. This is your starting lineup for the 24 Hours of Le Mans. You have got Racing Team Turkey by TF at the back there. Here we go. At the front, you have got BMW M Team WRT with Kevin Magnussen and Will Stevens of the Cadillac Hertz Team Jota in P2. You got Alpine, you got BMW, Cadillac, Genesis, Magma. I think they are doing really well considering. You've got Aston Martin, Thor, Ferrari. Ferrari, of course, have been very, very good in Le Mans in the last few years. Genesis right there again. Cadillac, Aston Martin, Ferrari, Alpine, Toyota, Peugeot, AF course. You've got the Panis Racing. Do you know what? The car manufacturers in WEC are just absolutely incredible. And this is such a brilliant, brilliant spectacle. And we'll get on to timings because here is our calendar. So this weekend we've got F1, F2 and F3 at Barcelona-Catalunya. Don't call it the Spanish Grand Prix. We've got WEC, which is the 24 Hours of Le Mans, and there is the World Superbikes at Emilia-Romagna in Imola. So let's look at timings. So first of all, F1, F2 and F3, all on Sky Sports F1. Now, practice 3 is at 11:30 a.m. and then qualifying starts at 3 p.m. UK time. And then if we look at tomorrow, the race itself starts at 2 p.m. So qualifying at 3 p.m, race at 2 p.m, standard European times. Also, you've got round 3, Spain in Formula 3, that is 7:25 a.m. and Formula 2, round 5 is at 8:50. And then you've got Porsche Super Cup as well at 10:40. So loads on the Sky F1 channel to watch. Then 24 Hours of Le Mans is going to be streamed live on TNT Sports. You can watch it across TNT Sports and their new streaming platform, which I believe is HBO Max. So the warm-up is at 11 a.m. and then 3 p.m. Saturday, 24 Hours of Le Mans starts, and then Sunday at 3 p.m. it ends. So 24 hours from 3 p.m. on Saturday to 3 p.m. on Sunday. So there you go. Those are your timings. That is your motorsport for the week. Please do get in touch and pop in the comments below anything you wanted to comment on today's stories or news or anything you think I've missed. And of course, we'll see you in the next one. Please like and subscribe. Thank you very much for watching.